Sometimes when I do a painting, I nearly cry when I'm finished because it's emotional to me, you know. And I think to myself, did I actually do that? Even to this day, I look at my paintings and I go, how the hell did I do that? I started off when I was 6 years old. My uncle was in the Merchant Navy and he came back, but he left this book on the table and it was horses, sketches of horses, and I'm like, I always loved horses. And he said, I brought that book back for you, John. It shows you how to paint horses. And from there I started painting. The moment I suddenly realised I'd become an artist was my father came in one day and I did a still life painting of a towel hanging on a door. And my father came in and he went to grab the towel. He thought it was a real towel. And he said, who did that? I said, me. And he came up and he says, you're telling lies. You can do it like that. I says, well, I did. So I did another one to show him. And then I started selling them. I was making more money than my father. My teacher said, you're going to art school in Glasgow. I said, am I? She goes, yeah, I'm putting your name down for it. The impact the Glasgow School of Art had was massive, mainly because of the three great tutors that I had. Number one was the Queen's painter for Scotland, David Donaldson, fantastic man. Had a lot of belief in the art school and sold it very well and painted beautifully. The second was John Cunningham, who painted with lots of colour and vision and passion. The third, as far as I'm concerned, was one of the greatest painters alive, Duncan Shanks. Wonderful man who used to take me to the library and show me quality work that I'd never seen before. It was overwhelming, but it was wonderful. My knowledge of the history of art comes from my interest in books of art. My grandfather used to say to me, go down to the library and you'll find it all down there. You'll find about all the artists. He knew Giotto, Cimabue, the Italian Renaissance painters, Masaccio, which means hulking Tom, right up to Leonardo, Michelangelo, Raphael. I learned all the ways to do sfumato, to do verisimilitude, to see clearly and record convincingly. This was all learnt by myself in the libraries. And when I went to the art school, I was probably a Mr. Know-it-all, but at the same time, I felt confident that I knew quite a lot about the history of art because it's very important. I can describe my style, Glasgow style, the Glasgow boys, colourists. In French they call them fauves. Fauves means wild beast. Black and white is for the pencil as far as I'm concerned, no problem. If you want to paint, colour, colour, colour. When I started, it was alla prima, one off, wet into wet. Now, I love the way of building up in layers, like the old masters did, layer upon layer upon layer, until the very last layer is done by the fingers, and it's like a wash, a tiny little wash over the painting. I love to build up and get that beautiful Scottish-Irish sort of tradition where you're weaving a canvas, you're telling a tale, and it's got 7 or 8 different little chapters. To me, the story's so important in a painting. Water to me means everything. I love to look at water moving. It's very difficult to paint. You have to be very fast in your technique. You have to develop a rapid way of painting. Let the brush flow. So your technique's got to be one that moves. The brush has got to move. The brush has got to do the talking in a way. I lived in France for a year and a half. I lived in Carcassonne, Montpellier, and I painted on the streets like I did in Glasgow. I met the people of the area. They would tell me about the history. That's one of the reasons why I know the history, because I'm outside. Well, the one that stands out most to me is red roofs in Saint-Tropez. I love red roofs. I don't know why, but I love them. They make me feel happy and warm, secure. I can smell the redness of the roofs. I can see it. My flesh is tingling. I want to paint. I want to get out there and talk to the people. I want to do that. Painting outside means taking the painting out to the people. I mean, you sit outside, anything can happen as a painter. Most of the people that you talk to are very interesting, and many of them are artists. So they're actually trying to glean as much from you as they can in 5 minutes. And I don't mind. I'll help anyone as long as they're honest and they try the best. And if they say, do you know, I've really learned from that, fantastic. Come to my classes and I can take you even further. But I want people to learn. I want people to see that there's something inside that I can bring out in them. Drawing just with a pencil, that's a great thing to do. Start off with a pencil and then develop it into watercolour, oil painting, acrylic, showing them all the different mediums, the different techniques. It's quite amazing. You could spend your whole life, well, I've spent most of my life doing that. And it's incredible. There's nothing to be scared of. It's wonderful. Once you start doing it and you realise that you've got some kind of creative ability, you think, wow, why is it taking so long for me to realise? I'm here to help you to realise that wonderful sensation of creation.